Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
The views and opinions expressed on this program were solely those of the caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air. People make the world go.
Good morning, radio listeners. You are listening to Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9. I am your host, Kevon Brown, this morning, and I'm joined with the incomparable, the Reverend, give me some more adjectives. Oh, come on, help me out, help a brother out now.
Sassy.
Ooh, yes. That's a good one. That is a very good one. Yolanda Weeks. Good morning, Yolanda.
Good morning, Kevin, and good morning to all of our listeners, our frequent listeners, and those who are listening for the first time. Welcome to Inside the News.
Lovely, 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 lovely. It is a beautiful Saturday morning here in St. Kitts and Nevis from what I saw, about 5 minutes ago before I came into studios. Who knows what happened in 5 minutes? The weather is dynamic. As you know, we are in the hurricane season. Hurricane season started on Wednesday, correct?
Yes.
Yes, Wednesday was June 1st. Mm-hmm. Yes, hurricane season started on Wednesday. So I hope everyone out there in Radio Land or online, wherever you're listening or watching us, you're getting prepared for the hurricane season and what's to come. The forecast for hurricane season is, for the 7th consecutive time, another active one, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's predictions. A couple of those are to be made into hurricanes. I think the number was like 7 to 10 are supposed to be hurricanes, and like 3 to 6 or so of those are predicted to become major hurricanes. So I hope everyone out there listening is getting prepared as best as possible. Trim your trees, get them away from power lines, sort out your water situation. I hope some people are investing in water catchment, because you never know what could happen. If a storm does come our way, we could lose power, we could lose water. I would rather lose power over water, because I kind of like to have water when I need to have water.
Water is a necessity, Kevin.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. I can't cook without it. I can't bathe without it.
Wash dishes. Around you must be clean.
Right? So I would rather have my water. So, I'm hoping to invest in a water catchment device.
And we need to start doing that now too, because we've been experiencing drought.
Mm-hmm. That too. Yes, absolutely. I think you did a report on it recently.
Yes.
Yes. I want to talk a little bit about that.
The situation with the water in St. Kitts and Nevis is basically due to low rainfall, and that is what we were told by representatives of both the Nevis Water Department and the St. Kitts Nevis Water Services. And just how you spoke about water catchment, they are encouraging individuals to start working on that, put something in place to ensure that they always have water in the event that things like these happen.
Right.
I think they have been speaking about a desalination plant.
Yes.
And that was spoken about in the recent press conference.
Yeah, in the recent press conference. I think I heard something about it last year as well, where I think Cromwell Williams,
yes,
he mentioned that he thinks it's time that we start heavily considering desalination plants to supplement the water we get from rain, considering we mostly get water from rain, and that would help with the water supply. Also cisterns, securing our water catchment devices, etc., etc. So that, in my opinion, I always thought that a lot of the rain that falls, a lot of it just ends up going right back out into the ocean.
And that is true. That's the way it goes.
Exactly. I mornings when I'm on my way to work, several times when it's raining and I see the gut running out, and I think to myself, all of that water could have got catch.
Yeah.
All of that water could have gotten caught and could be used on someone's farm, for someone's house. Lower your water bill, because even though the water bill, the charge for water is significantly low, for some reason people are negligent on their water, on paying their water bills, which is quite unfortunate, which leads to people getting cut off, and that kind of thing.
But we always hear that water is one of the cheapest bills to pay.
It is though. And not to out my mother, sorry mommy, I'm really sorry. You ain't listening to this, but who knows? Somebody might come and tell you. I know people gonna come and tell you. Anyway, she tell me normally she leaves it for 6 months and then pay on it because it's so cheap. Some people do that. Yes, some people do that.
$14, like, $20.
No, because you never know what could happen in that 6 months. That could then have you be like, okay, maybe I could push it again because this came up. So I want to divert my attention to that. I could wait a little bit. You know what I'm saying? That ain't but it should be a priority because water is essential for life.
Yes, it is. Deandra Carey, I think I was speaking to her in an interview recently about the same water situation living in Keyon. She is a person who has been quite vocal about the water situation in Whites, I think. Whites Estate, I think it is. You know that area in Keyon?
Somewhat familiar.
Okay, so that is where she lives, and she has been quite vocal about it over the past years. And in a recent interview with her, she was saying that she thinks that the government need to invest more or help people to invest more, make things cheaper, like in terms of the duty-free concessions on tanks and so on. That help to improve the water situation, help people to catch water. They could have the resources in the meantime. Yeah. I
think that's a good idea.
I think so too.
Also put it in the building codes as well, but that's a whole other journey to take.
Even that, I think in Angola right now, you must have a cistern in your house plan. You must. So I don't know. I think there have been talks about that, but I don't know how far they have gotten with that.
Yeah, well, talks and talks. And gotta put certain things into action.
That is true.
Very true. And maybe it can happen on the part of the citizens, those who can afford to do it, make it a regular practice for themselves, so that maybe it will force or change public opinion to then make the legislation come to fruition. Because since all these people are doing it already, they're basically putting it into their own business, their own building plans, as part of a way to subvert water expenses and to find different avenues of securing water, then it'll help shift other people. It'll make government take notice and be like, maybe we should actually enact something right now. Maybe we should actually put it into practice, considering, it's being done by either contractors, architects, that type of thing.
Yeah.
They're already in their vein of profession, and the plans that they do for people who could afford to have it done might change public opinion.
But for those who can't afford to have that system, then there are those black tanks.
That is
my
true.
grandmother has one all my years growing up.
Yeah, I heard it's very different in Nevis. In Nevis, it's very much like a regular thing.
Yeah, quite a number of people have cisterns and tanks. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know recently a couple of schools have gotten some tanks on St. Kitts. Some preschools, primary school, and a high school got some water catchment tanks that were donated to them to help with their water supply as well.
Oh, that is good. That is
So-
very good. I don't know if anything like that happened on Nevis, though. I'm not too sure. Did you hear anything?
I think Charlestown Secondary? I don't remember the specifics, but I think one or two schools in Nevis sometime last year got some tanks installed as well. But my mind is running blank on the specifics at the moment. But yeah, so I guess there are moves being made to help certain areas and certain communities work on, water catchment and securing water. But I think it needs to be broadened across the scope,
Yes. At least touch everybody.
Yes, touch every community,
Yes.
just a little touch until it becomes a regular thing. But it is 1:15. We're going to take a little break to hear from our sponsors before we return. Our sponsors today are TDC and Carib Brewery. So stay tuned to Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
And we're back with Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host today, Kevon Brown, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Yolanda Weeks. She was leaning over to hear what other adjectives I was going to give her this morning. But don't worry. We'll save that for the later. We'll save that for later. But today, we're going to run down about some of the things that were happening throughout the week here on Inside the News and talk about it, have a little discussion about what was happening. We were recently, before the break, speaking about water and hurricane season and conservation of water and getting prepared and all of that. Pretty pertinent from now until November 30th, considering it's hurricane season, and we haven't really gotten touched.
Think we can get touched this year?
I don't know, may want to speak it into existence, but probability dictates it might happen. Because I think the last time we really got touched by something was Irma or Maria. Which one? I wasn't here for both of them. I was in St. Thomas. So I get touched from both of them in St. Thomas, but may remember which one here.
I think it was Irma.
Is Irma touch here a little bit? Just a touch?
I believe so. Was that even?
And that was in 2017. We are now in 2022. So all I'm saying is be prepared. What do you think? What do you think is gonna happen?
I don't know. People say I have goat mouth, so I don't want to. I don't want to say anything, but we are gonna hope for the best.
Yes, we are gonna hope.
We are gonna hope for the best, and I've been very vocal about this hurricane season and what they're going to do for persons in Nevis who are doing dialysis here in St. Kitts and chemotherapy. I've been very vocal about that. I'm very passionate about that because
Yes,
it hit home. It hits home for me. So we are longing to hear more about what's gonna happen when the seas are rough. What is in place for these people who need to come to St. Kitts? They must have dialysis and chemotherapy 2 and 3 times per week. So we need to hear more about that. We are yet to hear.
Right. That is a serious issue, though.
Yes.
That is a very serious issue for anybody that needs medical attention on a regular basis, that needs to traverse the seas. What is in place?
What is in place?
And I'm guessing that you've been working on that.
I'm trying. I'm not quite there yet. I'm really trying. I'm really trying, and hopefully we'll get that call back or response soon.
So that we could do appropriate report
on that,
on
yes.
the situation, yes. So we can have everybody informed of what can be done, what may be in place or will
the best
be in
options,
place, or what are the best options, yes. That type of thing. So look out for that report from our incomparable Yolanda Weeks, from our lovely community-centric Yolanda Weeks.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Somebody hire me for your campaign. So speaking of leaks, we were talking about water. It's a rough transition, I understand. But, water leaks. Speaking of, there was a lot of leaks and whistleblowing going on.
Over the past week?
It was past 2 weeks, I think.
2
actually.
weeks?
Yeah. It was 2 weeks, right? Yes.
Yes, it was 2 weeks.
Of Julian Assange wannabes in St. Kitts and Nevis. A couple of people want to be like WikiLeaks, you know what I'm saying? We need more files to be like WikiLeaks, though. So, drop the files, as Kyle would say. I think one of the first leaks was Skelec. The Skelec cabinet submission asking for financial assistance
or bailout.
Well, yeah, people were using the word bailout. That's a hard word to use. So I'm kind of running away from that word unless it is used by the people who are requesting financial assistance. But yes, that is the word that is being used, bailout. I think if the information in the supposed leak, the photo that was going around I think it was 1 page specifically of a 12-page document that was making the rounds, listing a couple institutions in St. Kitts that owe Skelec. I think the combined amount that they owed was something around $20 million.
Yes.
That was owed to Skelec. And right before the break, we were talking about people not paying their water bill. And now we have big companies not paying their electricity bill. What are your views? Speaking of, the numbers to call, and just in case you have any opinion, this is the numbers to call, 466 0989 662 and 762 0989. Just in case you have any opinions on the matter. But what about you, Yolanda? What do you think about the whole thing? The leaking situation as well. Oh, we have a caller. It's like that was waiting for me. Good morning, caller. You're live on Inside the News.
Good morning. Sorry to interrupt your your comments concerning the leakage. And I do agree with you in every aspect of it. Leakage in every area of your life is a problem. And those leakage have to stop, or else you're going to find yourself in a disaster. You have a car, the radiator leak, you expect to blow your cylinder head, gasket. You toilet leak, you're going to pay a big water bill. Anyway, you have leakage, spillage, have to be stopped. The thing is concerning our water system is that it have been looked at very carefully over the past years. And I understood that plans were made to put the whole water system on one ring main. So you'll be able to control it where you have shortage in water and increase in water. And so every village should be able to get a good supply. That have not been done. We are still putting the main line in the center of the road. So if there's a problem, we have to break up the whole road, which is a cost. Public Works can't get to it to fix it fast enough, which is damaging the vehicles. So we are doing things kind of backward, and some ways in another we are not doing the things that we should do. The other thing is that there are some new toilets called the elongated toilet, which use very little water to flush. Nobody is advertising selling those toilets. The other thing, the washing machine, the top load, that use a tremendous amount of water. Nobody is advertising using the front load. The reason why laundries use front load machine is because they use minimum water. Don't ask me how they get the clothes washed, but they do wash and very clean. You think they need to a cleaner. The other thing is that you need not wash your car with a hose. You can get a plastic bag from Rams, full of water and wash your car. You don't even have to bend down to dip up the rag because it's in your hand. You could wash your car with it easily. So we have to utilize the things that we have to get the things that we need. Because what we have, we are not strategically planning to use the things that we have properly. And so once we waste, we will find ourselves in a position to want. Most politicians in Kean area get in power because they promise they're going to bring water. But I tell you, we have tanks, we have pipes, but there's still no water. And so therefore, look at the sugar factory. All those tanks are sitting at the sugar factory. Nobody's utilizing them. The other day, one of them break, and the amount of water run out on the ground. You could hold your belly, you'll quench. Right there by the sugar factory, when you drive down there by the mango tree and the bypass road, there's a tank there was full of water. And you know what? They leave it empty. They should have refilled the tank and keep the water circulating through the tank and bring it back for public use. But everybody look the other way. Why this happened to us? And the good thing about it is that everybody for government have been paid every day, every month. They're going home with their salary. Even when we have a pandemic, they get paid. And always being paid. Why are they not performing? I don't know why. But we need to have bang for buck. We need to save more. We need to plan better. And we need to do better than what we are doing. Thank you very much for your time. And have a good day.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much, caller. He made some good points about conservation, the toilet and the washing machine specifically.
And not the common man will come up with such conservation methods.
Well, based on the fact that he brought them up, it means the conservation methods have already been in existence. But as he said, they're not being marketed properly. They're not being marketed in a way that gets people to understand, hey, the toilet can still work, but it uses less water. The washing machine can still clean your clothes, but it uses less water. It reduces your water bill. It conserves water. So all in all, it's a win-win situation because you're still getting what you need from it. It's saving your money and it's saving water. But the marketing, getting the information out there to the people as a way to conserve water, selling it, making it a selling, how advertising.
You think the businesses would like that, who's selling those toilets and?
Why not? Well, let's in a perfect world, let's look at the way that the world is heading. Right now, we're dealing with the whole situation as it relates to climate change and the negative impacts of climate change. hurricanes are forming stronger, faster, coming in rapid succession. Sometimes they form before the season start. Sometimes they continue forming after the season finish, causing more damage, etc., etc. In a perfect world where we're making the efforts made in the Paris Agreement, where we're funneling the money needed to help protect the world against the negative effects of climate change, and we go forward in that vein, why would not businesses jump on board to sell what the manufacturers are making as conservative means of, using water?
So it's about everybody getting on board.
I
and
think so.
understanding
I think it's a broader
what we are
understanding
trying
of
to
what
achieve here.
is necessary.
We have a call, Kevin.
Yes, we do. Good morning, caller. You are.
Can you please turn your radio down?
I'm sorry about that.
Yes.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Now, the gentleman just now who called in with the toilet, what useless water, and the washing machine. The man is so right. But one thing the man ain't tell you, when you buy these toilets, you can't get parts.
Can't get parts?
Nobody's buying them.
They're not popular.
But
Right,
they have
we were
the
just talking
toilet.
about it. Yeah.
You see that they have the toilet and the sun. Sometimes they come out to places in Europe where they don't order, they just buy the toilet, and they don't say, well, let me stock up on a toilet handle, the rubber inside to stop the water from leaking and all of them things. So you can't buy. So there, when that's gone bad now, you're going back to the same old time toilet where you had before. And that is what the problem is. And then when we're talking about leakage, there is no such thing as leakage when it comes to skeleton, the water company and different things. If everybody treat everybody equal and treat everybody fair, you won't have to leak nothing. You can't go around in the poor neighborhood and them and cutting off people like for $500, $1,000, $200 and all them kind of thing. And to get back the light, they want X amount more, and plus you got to pay off the bill in full and all that. And you have these big companies who ain't paying nothing at all, but the light's still running 24 hours. And nobody doing nothing to them. So human beings, people in the office can leak. Because when you cut off somebody, you may cut off somebody from the office line with the water. And then they add it in the books and they see what's going on in the books. And then they start to talk. So they got to treat people fairly. I think in this day and age, yes, I'm talking about electric light. The electric light is high as usual. But when it comes to water and so on, and the light for school children and different things, they should find a better way. Up in England, is coins they got like a washing machine, a jukebox, to try to get light all the time. When the light gone, I went downstairs and trying to coin light back on. All of that should stay here to help the poor people them. Because 95% of them people who reading the meter is not reading it right. Thank you for the opportunity to talk with you all.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you very much, caller, for your points. And like we were speaking of, I think he in the beginning of his remarks, he was talking about not having parts.
Yes.
I think we were referencing the fact that the businesses, the businesses that sell these products, the businesses that are responsible for these products should have parts available if we want, a good adoption of these types of water conservative appliances that run in our homes. We haven't done
phone lines going crazy.
Good morning, caller. Ooh, we lost that caller. Let's see if we can get this other one. Good morning, caller. You're live on Inside the News.
Good morning to everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, greetings in Jesus' name, the only Savior of sinners from their sins and from hell, and the second person of the eternal Trinity. Now, first of all, I would like, there's something that happened, I think it's this week, concerning Jupont. and the threat on his life. And I would just like to say something concerning that.
Okay.
Now, that was a very sad event, very, very sad event. And such things should not happen. I mean, whatever you talk about, nobody should be coming to threaten you because you say something. If anything, and you feel that they mess with your reputation, anything like that, you could sue them. You could protect them to court, that sort of stuff. But nobody's supposed to attack anybody physically, especially because of what a person says. And I'm thankful that Mr. Jupan, nothing happened to him, and the person was arrested. And I hope it be a discouragement to all who think that they could trouble people because of what you say. Now, I think as well, let me ask y'all a question. Y'all know of the incident, right?
Yes.
Yes, we are aware.
Let me ask y'all another question. Do you all know of any of the politicians who came out publicly and condemned it?
I haven't checked, to be quite honest, but nothing has
seen.
come across my phone or desk or anything.
Yes, I have not seen
Because I'm
anything
not
either.
aware of it either. I'm not aware of such. And I think because, you see, there are people who believe that this election could possibly turn out to be very violent. There are people who hold to that opinion. And is this an indication of it? I don't know. I do not know. But what I think is that, especially in wake or in light of what happened with Mr. Jupan, I think all the politicians then, especially the leaders of the different parties, should come up very publicly, condemn what happened, tell their followers to cool their jet, because you don't have any right to attack anybody for what they say. You don't have any right to attack anybody for what they say. I think the politicians them should be continually admonishing their supporters and followers concerning this fact. And not only that, since this was done in the name, well, I shouldn't say in the name, let me take back those words. But since this was done, according to what I heard, to tell Mr. Jupan, do not speak about Dr. Denzel Douglas. I think Dr. Denzel Douglas especially, and the leader, Dr. Joe, I think they especially should come out and really condemn it and really tell the people, hey, do not attack anybody because of what they say. People should be able to say whatever, and if you feel that they said something that they wasn't supposed to say, take them to court. But do not attack anybody. And I think these two gentlemen should really publicly, in the most public way, condemn this event. I mean, this sad event. Because, like I said, it is said that the man said that he was going to possibly kill Jupan because Mr. Jupan spoke about the Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas. But I think all the politicians them as well should join in and really, really, really tell their followers, hey, none of this nonsense. Now, secondly, could I speak about something internationally?
What is that?
The mass shooting in America.
Which one?
Hello?
Which one?
Well, both of them.
Okay.
Both of them. Let me say this quickly. There was on another radio station, Dr. Martin said that these mass shootings only happen in America. And Joni Liebert and Sam Conda agreed with him, apparently. No, it's not true. these mass shootings don't only happen in America. It happen in Europe. It happen in other places of the world. And not only that, but it happen even on a world scale. And there are studies that came out and show that. The best study today concerning mass shooting the world over is a study that has been done by Dr. John Lott. And he's president of the Crime Prevention Research Center. And he did the most extensive issue on mass shooting the world over. And America is not the worst. And there are other countries with very strict gun laws have terrible mass shooting wars. You know? And so what he said was not true. But what a lot of people did not hear, see, people push agenda and don't tell all the truth. What an incident that happened that was not on the news is that I think it was either after the one in New York or after the one in Texas. I think it was the day after, where a man went to a graduation to shoot up the people, and a woman who had a rifle stopped him.
Where?
I did not know if she had killed him, wounded him enough so that he did not get to kill the people he wanted to kill.
Where did that happen?
Where
It
happened in America. I don't remember where, but it happened. I think what they did after either the New York mass shooting or the Texas mass shooting. This has not been on the news because it doesn't fit the narrative. You know, it doesn't fit the narrative. But
I would argue that it fits the narrative of someone. Maybe it just didn't reach. It just didn't get regional reach because you said someone, a lady with her own weapon stopped him with a rifle, stopped him.
Yeah,
so I think that fits someone else's narrative.
Well, you see, but it doesn't fit the narrative that hey, gun does people when you allow when we allow the biblical thing to happen, when you allow people to exercise the God-given right to own a weapon for self-defense, to protect themselves, to protect others, and so that more good come out of it than bad. And so people who do not go with the narrative ain't going to report and when guns are used defensively to stop mass shooters.
Well,
other shooters.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a God-given right.
Well, it's in the Bible.
It's a God-given right to protect yourself, but I don't think the Bible spoke about guns specifically.
No, it did not speak about guns, but it shows us that you have the right to arm yourself, to protect yourself.
I agree you should protect yourself, but we can't say it's a God-given right to own a gun to protect yourself. That injunction, I think, is unnecessary.
Again, the Bible gives us the right, okay? The Bible gives us the right to be armed, and back in those days, it was a sword. Back in those days, it was a sword, okay? But since the Bible gives us the right to protect ourselves with some arms, today that would be a gun. But nevertheless, even the other way around, it's still God still have not given any government the right to disarm people. So that is one reason why I say that is another reason why I say it is a God-given right for people to have arms to defend themselves. Because God did not give the government any right to disarm anybody.
I understand what you're saying, caller.
We're gonna pause.
We're gonna take a break for some ads, caller. But thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you too.
You're welcome. We will take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. Stay tuned to Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9.
People make the world go.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
The views and opinions expressed on this program were solely those of the caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
people make the world go
And we're back with Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9, and the phone lines have been going off while we were on a break. Let's take this call. Hi, caller. Ooh, and we lost that call. Call back in if you want to. Ooh. Wow, they were waiting, huh? Good morning, caller. And we lost that caller. Good morning, caller. You're live on Inside the News.
Good morning.
Yes.
Now, a gentleman called in there just now, and he was talking about the incident what happened with DuPont. Now, DuPont as a radio host on the station, he'll be threatening people. If you talk about somebody he do not like, he like, he condemn you, and he want the first one to tell you he ain't afraid of nobody. And nobody can do him nothing, and nobody can do him this and do him that. What you don't like, you cannot give. Because the fact remains, if this guy say he's backing such and such a people, and he decides to represent the people, that's the business. They ain't give him the right to go and threaten DuPont. And DuPont have to stop the ignorance on the radio by threatening people. Because if you mix up with a party and the people call the party leader name, you're talking about you're going to take them on and all of that. And everybody going to go for ignorance. So it's a sad situation, but you have to conduct yourself better on the radio too. Because he's threatening people. If people said something, he getting himself involved for that person. And threatening them and talking about he ain't afraid of nobody and nobody can take him on and all them kind of talk. So why you buy your way? Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, caller, for that contribution. I am unaware of any of DuPont's threats, so I can't speak to that.
Same with me.
I absolutely cannot speak to that situation, but it is definitely unwarranted for somebody to threaten someone's life
based on their political
based on any view or opinion, any religious view, any political view,
That's
any
true.
social view. It is not right for you to threaten the life of that individual, because you would not like to be threatened for your political, religious, or social view.
Or anybody for you.
Exactly. Good morning, caller. You're in on Inside the News.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Please turn your
Let me turn it
radio
off.
down.
Yes, good morning.
Sorry about that. Let me turn it off.
Yes.
Yes, good morning to all the listeners at home and abroad. And, well, I disagree with the last caller, right? I myself have been a victim of my whole family. I mean, just up to yesterday, one of my close relatives was telling me how people all on the Facebook and what cursing her. Now, you see, these things are encouraged, you know. And what beat me is that the people who put themselves in jeopardy have very little to gain and very little to show for what they're doing. And it is encouraged, whether by DuPont or anybody. It is encouraged. You listen to the regular discourse. I have one caller who takes delight in calling up my name in every situation. I don't just laugh. And my motto is ignore the noise. I have received death threats, you know, on Facebook. I just want a bullet in my head, you know. And when the former PM said, oh, go back your face, one said, no, back your body. And it is encouraged. But you see what happened? A lot of these things are done to intimidate people. It is done to intimidate people. How are we going to learn? We say we believe in democracy, but we don't. People from parties want one party, which is their party, and any other person or parties other than theirs is to be eliminated. And the way the party leaders carry on, because they support it. If you see your people over exuberant, you know, try to show their loyalty, and it is drawn to your attention, it is up to you. You have a right to speak up, because at the end of the day, that person goes to prison, get a criminal record, and you're out there. This habit of using people, and I must say volunteering, because our people just volunteer to go to jail for people. The same way you have an opinion, somebody else have one. And until we learn to accept that we can all get along having different opinions, then the more civilized we are. And I agree with you, young man. The political party leaders, the executives, their campaign strategists, they need to organize and have programs to protect people. Because while you might be laughing that it happened over there, there are people over there as enthusiastic as over here. And people already, you could hear the cry, oh, we got to get on the road, we got to rumble, and without even thinking of the consequences. The last rumble they had in 93, two ordinary people went to prison. Calypso Reggie and Johnny Macho. You understand what I'm saying? What did they benefit? And our people out there making a fool of yourself. When you finish cursing your people, threatening them, threatening their livelihood, threatening their children, threatening their whole existence, what do you get? You then turn around and complain, oh, well, and the people you're fighting for who are over here, go over there, go over here. They abandon you because they decide you and they're gone over there, so you already cuss over there. I wish we would get wise. And all of you who long to see rumbling and tumbling, think what would it cost the country? Nothing wrong with marching, you know, if you ever march peacefully. But when it is done to create strife and confusion, and all of you over there, over wherever you are, on whatever side, whether Sankis or Nevis, who think it is their job to destroy other people.
Let me play devil's advocate a little bit, because there are some people who believe that rumbling is necessary for effective change to be made. Let's take, I think it's in Lebanon, for instance, where they're going through a harsh economic crisis, and they are very much taking to the streets, very much rumbling and crumbling to get the government out so that they can get their economy back on track. So some people are of the opinion that rumbling is necessary for change.
Yeah, some people say so, you know. People say so, right? In some cases it is. But, you know, sometimes I tell people, if you are doing things for change, you must say what you want. The person who you're proposing to be the change maker must have the same goal as you. You don't think so?
Yeah.
They must. Oh, well, we want better standard of living. And nobody over there saying so. Nobody. So you'll be forever rumbling, because that's happening in a lot of countries, you know. They rumble out one government, put in another one, and they're going to be forever. Now you same economy you're trying to save. Getting worse and worse. What we need are ideas. We need ideas to content. You don't think so?
Well, ideas without a way to enact them kind of just be dead in the water. Ideas without a way, an actual way to get them enacted, to bring them to fruition.
That's what I'm saying. You got to strategize as to what exactly do you want to achieve and how you're going to achieve it. And the cheapest way. But I mean the cheapest way in terms of loss of life, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Before Martin Luther King hit the road, you know, they practice, they let the people know this is what you're going to face. He didn't just carry them into the battle, you know. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, if you know you can't the dog and you can't stand the water, do a march. You like it to get hurt, do a march. That is the biblical principle, according to Greg. You know about what we have here? We have people, so we can be forever cycling. We must say what we want, and sometimes, you see, in our exuberance for our parties, we don't say what we want. Even this thing we have now, it boils down to people and people and people. What do we really want? Do we want a united country or a divided country? Is that what you're fighting for? Because the policies don't change. I don't know if you observe. Whatever one start, the other one carry on. The policies seldom differ, they may enlarge. You understand what I'm saying? The social programs enlarge. They had pep, no, they got step. I mean, we got to get serious. And this thing about, because some people, you know, they have no ideas until you speak. I can tell you that. I would call in to share my ideas because I have training and experience and everything. And it is like, well, when I hang up, it's like to set the dogs, you know what I mean? And people don't even come on and contribute. Oh, Miss Henry and Sylvie Henry. You know, I feel sorry for them. But when it reaches the stage where people's lives are put at risk, we got to stop. We got to halt.
All right, thank you, caller. We need to get back because we're about to break for the news. Regular caller there, Sylvine Henry, calling in to voice her opinions on the situation. How do you feel about closing before we get to the news, to break for the midday news in about 2 minutes? What do you think about the DuPont situation?
Unfortunate. And just like all the other callers said, that was uncalled for, and we need to be able to express ourselves in a peaceful manner without any threats or anything like that. I think I heard a caller say that the individual is in jail.
I was arrested.
Arrested. So I'm looking forward to hear more on that and see how they'll deal with the situation. But we are encouraging individuals from this platform to be peaceful.
As peaceful as possible.
Yeah,
please.
It's a silly season, but don't be silly.
Right. We've been making jokes that it's silly season for the longest time, and people have been making predictions that this election is going to be a rough one or whatever the case is. But it'll only be that rough if we, the people, feed into
human behavior.
Yes, it depends on us and how we carry ourselves and whatnot. But I think this was a very fruitful discussion for the first half of Inside the News here on Win FM 98.9. We are going to break for the midday news, and then we'll return at about 12:30 for the second hour this afternoon. We'd like to thank our sponsors, TDC and Cara Brewery, for this half of the show. We will be right back with Inside the News with your host, Kevon Brown, and
Yolanda Weeks.
Stay tuned.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Daily low with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Stop standing in long ATM lines to withdraw cash. Use your national debit or black cards to complete a wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your national bank cards today.
National Bank, always here.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king. Please drink responsibly.
With the Win Headline News, I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yolanda Weeks.
Making the headlines.
Former Nevis cricketer drowns. The Nevis Reformation Party launched federal candidates.
Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, says his country will not be represented at the Summit of Americas to protest a ban of Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. The Bahamas and Cuba are under tropical storm warnings. Internationally, the Russia-Ukraine war is affecting commodity prices globally. A senior analyst from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization said the developing world is most at risk. German investigators are trying to establish what caused a train to derail on Friday, killing 4 people and injuring dozens. Now, the details.
The body of Harvey Stapleton, also known as Pombi Boy from Brown Hill Village, was pulled from the area near Charleston Bay this morning in a suspected drowning incident. In a widely circulated video, Pombi Boy appeared to be loosening some fishing boats at the pier, and an individual with a male voice spoke to him and said, quote, "I hope you can swim, you know." Tragically, Mr. Stapleton got into difficulty and died. Pombi Boy was a very talented cricketer, having made the Nevis cricket team in 1973. One of his national career highlights was taking 10 wickets for 92 runs in a match versus St. Kitts. Many viewed Pombi Boy as a local celebrity, and he will be fondly remembered for his annual Good Friday enactment as Jesus on the cross, with thorns about his body, in commemoration of the crucifixion of Jesus. This gave him an additional nickname, Black Jesus. Pombi Boy also enjoyed farming, thus owned a farm which he often spoke about. A social commentator, Mr. Beyond Hanley, joined scores of other people to express condolences to the family and friends. Hanley also shared a tribute which brings light to the actual personality of Pombi Boy. Reacting to the news of Pombi Boy's passing, Hanley wrote, quote, "Wow, Pombi Boy was at the NRP Nevis Reformation Party launch last night. The last time I spoke to him was a few weeks ago at Value Mart. He was telling me about his well-organized farm and why he doesn't like fake people. He was a very intelligent man. A woman came and told him, why don't he go to church? Then Pombi Boy started cursing after that. He was a man who always spoke his mind. May his soul live on in heavenly glory." End quote. WIN FM is making efforts to gather more details on what transpired, and will provide more on the incident as information becomes available. The Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, has officially signaled the start of its campaign for the upcoming St. Kitts Nevis general election with the launch of the federal candidates. The event was held on Friday, June 3, 2022. The party leader, Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, will contest the seat for Nevis 11. Mr. Rohan Isles and Dr. Patricia Bartlett will contest the seats of Nevis 10 and 9, respectively. The federal campaign launch was held at the Villa Grounds in Charlestown in the presence of hundreds of supporters. The event was also streamed live on YouTube and Facebook, as well as radio. In their presentations, the candidates said they will ensure that Nevis receive good representation once elected. They mentioned that legislation and policies will be of prime focus so that Nevis will get its fair share in all regards. The federal candidates also shared with the people of Nevis their intention to improve the lives of individuals and families. Following the presentations, the audience had an opportunity to greet and mingle with the candidates, take pictures on the 360 photo booth, whilst enjoying the sounds of Ike the Real Right. A date for the St. Kitts Nevis general election is yet to be announced by Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris. The election must be called by August 8, 2022.
The Sir Lee L. Moore Judicial Complex will be closed from June 7th until further notice, according to a release from the Ministry of Justice and Legal Affairs. The reason for the closure is unclear at this time, but the notice stated that the complex would undergo significant renovations. High Court and Magistrate Court hearings will continue in person at alternative facilities and via Zoom. Any changes will be communicated subsequently. The staff will also be relocated to other government facilities.
In regional news,
Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, says his country will not be represented at the Summit of Americas to protest a ban of Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. The Bahamas and Cuba are under tropical storm warnings, and more from Carib Update.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines will not be represented at the Summit of the Americas to be hosted by U.S. President Joe Biden in California next week, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves has confirmed. Speaking on a local radio program, Gonsalves said that he will not be going because he doesn't see what is to be gained from going. Gonsalves appeared to have failed in a series of letters to persuade his CARICOM colleagues to boycott the summit over Washington's refusal to invite Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua to the talks. Gonsalves said he had made it clear that he would not attend the summit unless Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela were invited. Tropical storm warnings were issued early Friday for much of Florida Peninsula, Cuba, and the Bahamas as a system that battered Mexico moves through the Gulf of Mexico, bringing threats of heavy rain and wind for the weekend. The National Hurricane Center in Miami said the storm, once known as Agatha in the Pacific Ocean, will be known as Alex in the Atlantic Ocean basin. An advisory posted early Friday noted that data from a Hurricane Hunter aircraft indicates the system's maximum sustained winds had increased overnight, and it was expected to develop a well-defined center and become a tropical storm as it approaches Florida. Parts of Cuba and the northwestern Bahamas are also under a warning with tropical storm force conditions expected within 36 hours. The Atlantic hurricane season officially began Tuesday. Haiti has named a candidate for the position of director of the Pan American Health Organization to replace the Dominica-born Dr. Carissa Etienne, who has served 2 5-year terms. The Haitian candidate, Dr. Florence Duperval-Guillaume, a former acting prime minister and former minister of public health and population, is among 6 candidates announced by the PAHO Executive Committee. The other candidates are from Brazil, Panama, Mexico, Colombia, and Uruguay. PAHO said the election of the director of the Pan American Sanitary Bureau, PAHO's executive arm, will take place during the 30th Pan American Sanitary Conference, which will be held from September 26 to 30, 2022. CARICOM and the Organization of American States have confirmed they will send observer missions for the June 23 general elections in Grenada. Press Secretary for the Prime Minister's Office, Philomena Robertson, says the government is still awaiting a response from a third organization, the Carter Center, on whether it will have representation on the ground. 41 people were nominated on Wednesday for the 15 constituencies. The ruling New National Party and the main opposition National Democratic Congress submitted candidates for each constituency. The Grenada Renaissance Party and the Independent Freedom Party each nominated 3 candidates, while the Grenada United Labour Party nominated 4. There was 1 independent candidate. Some 87,794 people are registered to cast their ballots.
We now bring you these international reports.
More than 100 days into the war in Ukraine, and the fighting is intensifying in the east. Far from the front lines, the conflict impacting the global food supply, especially in Africa, which imports 40% of its grain from Russia and Ukraine. The chair of the African Union traveling to Sochi to help get deliveries back on track.
I spoke to the European Council and I told them, yes, there is a war, the crisis, but there's also sanctions. We should work together on resolving these 2 problems and make sure that everything concerning food and grain supplies is outside the sanctions.
His meeting, President Putin ended with a promise to ease the export of grain from Russian-controlled ports. Putin blaming the West for using Moscow as a scapegoat.
Of course, now we see an attempt to shift responsibility for the global food crisis to Russia. This attempt, as our people like to say, is an attempt to shift from a sick head to a healthy one.
Food prices have shot up across Africa since Russia invaded Ukraine. with fears of famine and the UN warning of mass migration if food doesn't reach African shores fast.
Russia's played a hunger game recently to put blame on Ukraine and others for blocking Ukrainian food exports. So basically, they are saying that the imminent hunger in Africa and elsewhere will become soon because of the Western sanctions on Russia, not because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine and blocking of Ukrainian ports.
But despite today's pledge, it remains unclear when those ports will be able to release the supplies Africa and the world so desperately needs. Jillian Wolfe, Al Jazeera.
Carriages were packed with passengers, many of whom are injured. It's understood some of the people on board were children heading home from school for the half-term holidays.
A serious train crash occurred here. A regional train which departed from the town of Garmisch-Partenkirchen heading to Munich derailed shortly after leaving the station. For reasons unknown, several train carriages tipped over and fell down an embankment.
It took emergency services several hours to extract everyone from the wreckage. Some were so badly hurt they needed to be airlifted to hospital for treatment. It's likely many on board would have been using the new $10 monthly ticket which allows unlimited regional travel. This stretch of line links a ski resort with the Bavarian capital Munich. The derailment happened on a bend close to the main road and the river Loisach. No other vehicle was involved in the incident, and the weather conditions at the time were good. An investigation is underway to piece together the final moments of the journey and find out what caused the train to leave the tracks. Dominic Kane, Al Jazeera, Berlin.
U.S. stocks dropped on Friday after a solid jobs report ate into hopes for a pause in the Federal Reserve's campaign to hike interest rates in its effort to fight decades-high inflation. The Dow fell 1%, while the S&P 500 closed 1.6% lower, and the Nasdaq plunged about 2.5%. Kevin Nicholson is Global Fixed Income Chief Investment Officer at Riverfront Investment Group.
The market is experiencing downside pressure on the equity side, and on the fixed income side, yields are going up, and it's largely because of the uncertainty due to the underlying strength that we're seeing. We had both the JOLTS report and the non-farm payrolls come out this week, and they both were strong. And so it's basically reinforcing the fact that the Fed is going to continue to hike rates over the coming meetings, both in June and July, and they're expecting 50 basis point increases, and the market is reflecting that strength and reacting to it today.
Shares of Apple sank nearly 4% after a bearish analyst note from Morgan Stanley that said Apple's App Store is showing signs of slowing growth. Also weighing on the stock was a report that EU countries and lawmakers were set to agree on a common charging port for mobile devices next week, a proposal Apple has fiercely opposed. Tesla shares fell more than 9% after CEO Elon Musk, in an email to executives seen by Reuters, said he has a, quote, super bad feeling about the economy and needs to cut about 10% of the workforce at his electric car maker. One of the few tech stocks to post a gain Friday was Twitter, after the social media company said the U.S. antitrust waiting period for Elon Musk's $44 billion acquisition of Twitter had expired, indicating it had dodged a lengthy review of the proposed deal.
U.S. employment data out Friday showed robust hiring for the month of May. Non-farm payrolls increased by 390,000 last month, higher than economists polled by Reuters expected. Numbers for April were also revised higher. Friday's numbers also showed the unemployment rate held steady at 3.6%, almost at a pre-pandemic low.
With today's excellent jobs report and unemployment remaining at near historic lows of 3.6%, I want to speak very about our economy and what we're doing to lower the cost for American families.
U.S. President Joe Biden hopes the robust report will help him convince American voters unsettled by surging inflation that he has a steady hand on the economy. He addressed the latest figures Friday with the message that he was ready to face down steadily rising prices.
We've laid an economic foundation that's historically strong, and now we're moving forward to a new moment where we can build on that foundation, build a future of stable, steady growth, so we can bring down inflation without sacrificing all the historic gains we've made.
And he cautioned Americans that the strong job growth stemming from the pandemic recovery was likely going to moderate in coming months.
But that's a good thing. That's a sign of a healthy economy with steady growth, rising wages for working families, everyday costs easing up, and shrinking the deficit. That stability puts us in a strong position to tackle what is clearly a problem, inflation. I've been very clear that fighting inflation is my top economic priority.
The strong job numbers will likely give the Federal Reserve the green light to go ahead with further interest rate hikes aimed at tamping down surging inflation. The central bank is trying to get consumers to rein in spending and curtail rising prices that are eroding purchasing power and savings. The aggressive moves to cool the economy have raised fears of a recession. Most economists, however, believe the current economic expansion will persist through next year.
You were listening to the WINNFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were:
Former Nevis cricketer drowns. The Nevis Reformation Party launched federal candidates.
Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, says his country will not be represented at the Summit of Americas to protest a ban of Cuba, Venezuela, and Nicaragua. The Bahamas and Cuba are under tropical storm warnings. Internationally, the Russia-Ukraine war is affecting commodity prices globally. A senior analyst from the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization said the developing world is most at risk. German investigators are trying to establish what caused a train to derail on Friday, killing 4 people and injuring dozens. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that National Bank offers very favorable terms and low interest rate to switch your home mortgage? Our in-house legal department will process your mortgage in a jiffy and free of cost. Switch your home mortgage now and get a peace of mind knowing that we are here for you. National Bank, always here.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Found the sound 98.9 Win FM.
People make the world go
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
The views and opinions expressed on this program were solely those of the caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
People make the world go.
And welcome back to Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9. Thank you for tuning in, all our radio listeners. You were just listening to our midday news break, and now we're back for the second half of Inside the News. It is Saturday afternoon, June 4th. Happy June, with Monday coming up on Monday holiday.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're doing
Yes.
Kevin.
What I doing?
Yes.
I have no idea, to be quite honest. I was actually thinking about going Nevis because you know they got the Conch Festival.
Mm-hmm. The what?
The Conch Festival. Conch.
Conch.
Let me say it how I want to say it. See, the Conks Festival. Yeah, the kind of Conks Festival. I wanted to go, but I don't think I'll be able to go. So I gotta get somebody to send on some conch something for me. Conch
So you
chowder,
want
conch
everything
fritters.
conch,
Yes,
you there.
yes.
Okay.
I'd greatly appreciate it. I will be there for the Mango Festival in July, though. That I'm definitely
God's
going
willing.
to. Yeah, God's willing. Amen. But I can't make it this weekend. What about you? What are you doing this weekend?
Usual. Cook, sleep, eat, wash. You know, just the usual.
But nothing outside the usual?
No, nothing outside the usual. I'm not outgoing or anything like that. So I'll be home, relaxing. Oh no, I'm working on Monday.
I'm off on Monday.
That's your usual
Yes, that's
day.
my usual off day. But you're working on Monday.
I just remember.
Uh-huh.
Got caught up in the holiday thing.
You got real caught up.
So work is in the middle of all that too. So yeah, nothing extra special. Nothing extra special at all.
Okay.
All right. So we just saw a press release from the Ministry of Health speaking about the COVID-19 situation in the country.
Yes,
And
the
I
numbers
guess-
have been increasing recently, have they?
Yes, I guess they're basically saying now that it's spiraling a bit. 144 new cases within a period of 2 weeks.
Oh.
So they're encouraging individuals to be vigilant, to be responsible. And Kevin, you know, all kind of events coming up. Tropics today. Tropics today. It's a bumper crowd in Nevis, exactly at the Botanical Gardens. And we have all of these pre-music festival events. And then we have music festival, we have the pre-Culturama events, and then the actual core Culturama activities.
And then the election.
Then
gonna join the
election,
next,
and people gonna be, more and more people gonna be coming in, traveling, and so on and so forth. So, again, I don't know. Back to people behavior again.
Well, that's how we gotta live with it now.
Yes, we have to live with it.
We gotta
So,
live with it now. If you feel a little tickle in your throat,
drink your bush tea. and-
drink all the bush tea, drink the concoction that you know you gotta drink.
Are they still saying stay home? But if you feel a little funny?
I think that is still the case. Yes, I think that is still the case. That you stay home. I don't know if you're still staying home for the 2 weeks or 1 week, but I think that's the general thing. It has not been ruled endemic yet. I think that has to be a global situation because while we are kind of experiencing endemic-like spread of COVID where it isn't causing major hospitalization and death and that kind of thing, it isn't the same globally. So we're still very much in a situation where it's a pandemic.
Oh, they're saying here, wear face masks when in public places, sanitize hands after interacting with other persons and
So-
after touching high-touch surfaces. They're saying maintain safe distance. So we're hearing this safe distance again with all of these activities that are coming up. Maintain safe distance from others when in public places and when attending functions like church, funerals, and other family and social gatherings.
You know that's hard to do, right? You don't catch bus, you know that.
Yes,
All right.
it's something hard to do, and right now everybody back into the rhythm of
How it was
entertainment life, and
exactly.
people not even wearing masks no more. People not wearing masks, but sometimes it's me alone on a bus in a mask, and everybody watching me like, ooh.
Well, truth be told, I think from what I understand, normally in Asian countries, wearing masks is a regular thing because
Yes.
of dust and pollen and stuff. It's very high over there. It is also a way to protect other people when a person is actually sick.
Right.
So maybe we should move to a situation where you feel a tickle in your throat.
You
got a little
wear a
sniffle.
mask.
You wear a mask to protect other people. So maybe that could be a way to help the situation. You know, if you feel sick but you gotta move, put on a mask, sanitize your hands.
Right now, sanitizing and thing in no big thing really and truly. Walk in the shop them and you just walk straight in. The machines them stop working and so nobody there with no spray bottle and so to spray your hands and so things change up a lot. You know.
Well, the messaging has changed because it's now upon the individual to take that personal responsibility. So the narrative has already changed. So they do it whether they do it if they want. If they don't, they don't. And so you just gotta bear the consequences. But like I said, drink your bush tea, your maiden apple, your garlic, your what else we up in there? Maybe a little rosemary. If you're feeling fancy, some soursop bush, maybe a little cinnamon bush. I don't know. Where you put in your concoction?
My concoction? It's very simple, I put 2 or 3 bush together and that's it, nothing extra.
Sure.
Yeah.
I got whole witches, bro.
What I don't normally put sugar in my bush tea.
No.
That's all. But I put lemongrass with basil and maybe, I don't know, something else and that's it.
We have a caller. Caller, good afternoon. We lost that caller. We call back in.
The Ministry of Health was notified yesterday, according to this press release, that based on the foregoing trend, the Federation's CDC COVID-19 travel health notice level will escalate from level 2 to level 3 effective Monday, June 6, 2022. And that's...
Yeah, but they ain't gonna stop nobody from coming. You forget.
No.
Music festival, Culturama, elections. We have a caller. Good afternoon, caller. Ooh, just lost you. But even though the travel advisory for the U.S. will be elevated, I don't think that will necessarily negatively impact the people like that are coming in. Right. Good afternoon, caller. You're live on Inside the News.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. I'm calling concerning, the male host. He had mentioned something about climate change in the earlier portion.
Yes.
And now he's speaking about COVID. But before that, when I called earlier, I mentioned a woman who was stopped a man with a gun. Actually, you had asked where it happened. It happened in West Virginia. And you had this man, he had an AR-15. And he opened it on a graduation prom. He started firing on a graduation prom. But a woman with a pistol was able to stop him as she shot him. I don't know if he died or anything like that. But this is according to the Charleston police. No, that is that issue. Concerning climate change, there is a book that is out now, and it is called Fossil Future, written by Alex Epstein. You can get it on Amazon. And he shows you, and this ain't something new to me, but he shows you, well, the subtitle of the book is Why Global Human Flourishing Requires More Oil, Coal, and Natural Gas, not less. And he shows you in that book that if you want human flourishing, to keep things cheap, to keep the cost of living cheap, to keep the standard of living high and that sort of stuff, we actually need more oil, coal, and natural gas for that, not less. As these things are cheaper and as they are more reliable than green energy. Green energy is a lot less, well, I should say, let me just say, green energy is less reliable and it is more expensive. And for example, in some places in Europe that have turned a lot to green energy, the energy bill, the electric bills and so on have increased significantly, a lot. And it is required, and because of that, life there for many has become harder. And the cost of living has gone up and the standard of living has dropped. And that's not a good thing. That is bad for your economy. Secondly, lastly, I would like to say, concerning, even with the climate change thing, a lot of people say it is causing stronger hurricanes and that sort of stuff, more hurricanes and that sort of stuff. But that is very debatable. Very debatable. Because there are stats that show that that is not necessarily the case. Now, concerning COVID, what a lot of people are not hearing is that a lot of these COVID cases are mostly found in countries with very high vaccination rates. There seem to be some connection. There seem that it might be some connection because the countries that are having the worst COVID cases are those with very high vaccination rates. And concerning masks, the wearing mask, there are studies that have come out that shows that the mask ain't really accomplishing anything. Wearing mask ain't really accomplishing anything. It just make you feel good, thinking that you're accomplishing something, but it ain't really accomplishing anything concerning safety because the coronavirus is spread by aerosol, not so much like droplets as they were saying in the past, but mostly by aerosol. And where that is concerned, it make the mask very ineffective to stopping the spread of it. And the distancing, this social distancing as well, there is no science behind it. It makes us feel good that we are doing something, but there's no science behind it. They're very ineffective. You know, nobody could bring enough study to show the science behind, for example, 6 feet distancing to say that you're accomplishing something scientifically. You know, so these are parts of the pictures, the bigger picture that we are not hearing, but we should know of. And above all else, we need to do things the Bible way, because that is the way to only deal with things effectively, and if the Bible way is the only way to deal with solutions, to find solutions. Other than the Bible way, we just continually go down the road of destruction, pain, suffering, etc., which would eventually end in hell for us if we die in our sins. So this is what I really wanted to say, and I wanted to speak of other aspects that we normally don't hear, but are out there. And like I said, let's do things the Bible way, because that is the only solution. We are not doing it the Bible way. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, caller, for that contribution.
And that is his opinion. We tie that one in. That is his opinion.
And everyone is entitled to their opinion. Yes. Specifically what we were speaking about earlier as it relates to DuPont and him expressing his opinion. People are allowed to express their opinions, while his opinion is not reflective of the opinion of WINNFM. It is his opinion, the caller. But yes, did you have anything more to report on the COVID-19 situation?
Well, it's just that, let me pull it back up here. They're saying that it's a holiday weekend, so they are aware.
Mm-hmm.
Activities going on, a lot of social events, and they're asking people to be vigilant, exercise caution, protect themselves from the virus, reduce the spread. Let us all do what we can to prevent that fifth wave. That's basically it.
Right. And when that's a rough question to ask. Maybe you could ask it later. When would a fifth wave be called? What number would we have to
I thought
get
we were
to?
already in a fifth wave, actually. Because you remember that lull?
Yeah, that's why I asked
like
the
it was a
question.
2-month period when there was not really any cases. Sometimes a whole week passed and there was less than 5 or sometimes 0. So I thought after cases began to rise, that would have been a fifth wave. So I should ask. Yeah.
What would constitute a fifth wave? What's the number? Is there a specific number they're looking at? Yeah, I think that's a good question to ask. Okay, so the word on the street is to be vigilant. This weekend is a holiday weekend, and you're looking forward to jump up. Tropics going to be hot.
Well, from this weekend onward, it's going to be jump up. A lot of activities.
Think it's going to be live and lively.
And Nevis too, don't forget. Don't leave Nevis out.
Going to be live and lively. Yes, I apologize. I love Nevis bad.
I
need
hope
some
so.
more. I need some more mangoes, actually.
Oh, Emery Polly, I'm going to try to get some more for you.
Thank you. Thank your mother for the last set as well. I hope she's listening. Thank you, Mommy, so much for the mangoes. I enjoyed them last night. I eat them like I was starving.
No, you're going to put me on this spot for people to call me and say they want Emery Polly. You was stupid as doing, Kevin.
Hello, you. No. Your mother sent them for me. Okay? Whether people call you or not, that's a whole different situation. You don't have to study them calls, but your mother sent them for me without anyone asking. Bless her soul. She decided that she was going to send mangoes for me and the rest of the workers here at WINFM. So whoever going to be hugging you afterwards, that's you and them battle.
All right.
But before the break, I think in the morning edition, we were speaking of leaks. Yes. So we're going back to the leaks. The hot things that were happening. I think what happened after we spoke about Skelec and the 20 million that certain institutions are owed. And then the other leak after that, I think, was the urban development.
So people are asking about mangoes already.
So done. But yes, the UDC leak of a letter was making the circulation where a director was fired, and I think you have these specifics pulled up.
Yes. Here we go.
So yes, there was a letter going around that said that the director of the Urban Development Corporation was terminated, and then soon after, the Honorable Wendy Phipps came and made it known that there would be some reshuffling for the Urban Development Corporation's board as well as SCASPA's board, the Air and Seaport Authority's board, where certain members were relieved of duty. And I think most recently it was indicated that the remaining three
resigned.
From SCASPA, I think, specifically. There was also another letter that was circulating, all these leaks, leaky pipes all over the place. Because you could tell it's a leak because it was stamped by the Ministry of International Trade, Industry and Commerce and Consumer Affairs, where a one Calvin Esdale basically changed his position on taking up a membership on the UDC board. Just leaks everywhere, but we have a caller that seems to want to get right on in. Good afternoon, you're on Inside the News.
Yes, hello. Yes, it's me again. I'd like to quickly say, all that I've said, I have sources. It isn't me just pulling it out of thin air. I have sources among which are the cream of the crop scientists, cream of the crop doctors, studies, that sort of stuff. So it isn't just a matter of my opinion. I have sources to back me up. And it's the opinion of many, like I said, studies and cream of the crop scientists, doctors, etc. But above all else, when I said that the only solution for our problems is doing things the Bible way, is found only in the Bible, that definitely is not my opinion. That is God's opinion. And so we may not like it, but it is true. It is God's opinion that when we do things the Bible way, when we look to the Bible for our solution, there is where we will find all the solutions and answers for all the evils, problems, confusion, so on that has been plaguing us. And it's only in Jesus Christ we will find salvation from our sins and from hell.
Caller, we are not denying anything you said about the Bible.
I know.
Okay?
I know.
Just to clear the
I know.
air, we are not denying anything that you said about the Bible, but all the other things you said, we are leaving it as it's your opinion. The Ministry of Health say what they had to say. They got their source from wherever. You say you got your source from wherever. That's your opinion. Okay?
Let me ask you a question. Could I ask you a question? Do you know of any study or anything put forward that show the 6 feet distancing is scientific in the fight against COVID?
Everything don't have to be scientific, does it?
No, everything doesn't have to be scientific.
Okay, and that's one of the things.
But when it comes to the COVID, the talk is follow the science. When it comes to the COVID, he talk follow the science, follow the science. That is the talk when it comes to the COVID.
That's been the only talk to follow the science? Has that been the only talk to follow the science?
When it comes to the COVID, that has been the talk coming from government.
Has that been the only talk to follow the science?
Yeah, from government, yes, from the government, yes. That has been the only talk from the government.
The only thing they've been saying is follow the science?
Follow the science.
That's
follow
your
the
opinion
science,
again.
And not only that, when you're in follow the science, they say spreading conspiracy theories.
All right, caller. Thank you for calling. Thank you so much.
Feelings are high today.
So we are back to the leaks.
Yes. So yeah, there was the UDC leak that happened.
Skelec leak, UDC leak. SCASPA was a leak as well?
That was more like a rumor. There was no actual document floating around with the SCASPA thing. But the UDC started the SCASPA thing, which led Wendy to make a statement about reshuffling of the boards.
And the big bad honorarium.
That was a leak. The honorarium. Yes, the hottest thing that happened this week, the honorarium. I swear I get tired. I swear I dreamed the word honorarium. I really did dream that word honorarium because it was on the minds of, it was on the mouth of everybody on this honorarium. And there, I think, as it relates to some of the arguments that I heard in passing that I've heard in speaking with my colleagues, with my family, with my friends, is they're of the opinion that the double salary in December should have been enough.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too.
I've heard that, yes, to cover the whole risk that was taken throughout operating as the COVID-19 task force during the height of COVID-19. That is their opinion. Everybody is entitled to their
own opinion.
Exactly. I think that's the theme of
today's show. We have a caller. Welcome to Inside the News. Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon, darling.
Welcome back.
Good afternoon, Greg. Greg want me. You see, when I pull my Bible, you know, Greg doesn't mean a Christian. He ain't sinning because the Bible says, confident of this thing, God knows belong to him. Now, if you look in, I'm not done quick. If you look in the Bible, in Leviticus, they talk about what you should eat as government, you know. When you're sick, the same thing, if you got leprosy, they put you out. If you got any rash on your skin, you had to be put out. There's always, when it comes to health, the Bible gave them power to take measures, even in terms of being sanitary. It's in the Bible, if Greg was to, and he knows it. Anyway, let me get to the leak. Are those leaks, or are they conveniently, I'm trying to find the right word.
I know, I understand.
I understand what you want to say.
Yeah. They sound like leak to you?
What we call them leak, quote
unquote.
unquote.
Look at the timing, the subject.
Well, truth be
Before
told,
and after an event.
Truth be told, some leaks, well, most leaks, honestly, happen as a political driver, I think.
Yes, for some specific purpose or agenda.
Exactly.
Yeah, not some all.
I say some because me and that for
and then the trouble is, you know how somebody asks, isn't there a third party to this leaking? You have unity, then you have Pam Happy. So who leaking? Who intend to benefit from the leaks?
I cannot say who's going to benefit from any of these said leaks.
Somebody must benefit.
Well, maybe...
These leaks are done deliberately, you know, if you examine them one after the other.
Who says there's a purpose? Maybe they just wanted to stir the pot. Maybe they just wanted chaos.
Generate some excitement?
Some people just want
to... That is the purpose.
Some people just want chaos.
The purpose is to discredit, undermine, assassinate people's character. Because we examine the leaks, start with the first set with the letters. and Mr. Hamilton letter, and the letter to the governor. Sometimes when you look at the leaks, they're kind of suspicious, you know. And with this computer graphics.
Let me ask you a question, Miss Henry. Let me ask you a question.
Ask me, darling.
Suppose these quote-unquote leaks didn't come out. Don't you think we would still be in the wilderness wondering what's going on behind the scenes?
Well, you don't think we think we're any more enlightened?
A little bit.
No, we're more confused. We're more confused. Because every leak come out, you want to know what the other ones say.
Mm-hmm. You keep wanting more and more?
Yeah. Because, all right, you come out. Let's start with Honorable Wendy. She came out and she made her remarks. And you counter a response. Then, well, since she talked, we're going to see what then the leak was designed for that purpose, right? She's talking about people and she gets it 27,000. Now, anybody who work in the public service know they give honorarium, even though the Labour government only for 2 years. 2 years I served in the capacity of my boss, and I was promised an honorarium. It's just an extra payment, you know. Mm-hmm. That's what it is for service. It has nothing to do with your salary. Huh? You know that, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Because some people think it has to do with your salary now. You might work in a position, do something that goes beyond your regular duty or responsibility. Sometimes you are compensated for the extra time and effort with a little extra money, which we call honorarium.
Do you think there should be a cap on honorariums? Like the amount people should get as honorarium?
It depends on what you do, you know. It depends on what you do. For example, if you are in a situation, right? Mm-hmm. Take a permanent secretary. Now, let us say that the minister under which he works is extremely busy or even sick. Put it that way, right?
Yes.
And he has to carry extra load. Now, he's not a minister, but he has to be doing ministerial duties. You can't give the man $500. In some cases, you could even get half of the minister pay. So it has to do with the area in which you operate. And for how long? Now, to be fair, if they were working from 2020 till they're still working, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Now, I am not sure if many people are aware. This is not in defense of Wendy and Juicy, but if you know anything about NEMA, they are what their title is again?
The abbreviation?
Eh?
The National Emergency Management Agency?
Something like that, but they are required by law to stay at the NEMA's building throughout every storm. They cannot go home. From the time they say hurricane come in, they have to stay. They can't say, well, I'm going to go fix my house. They are required by law because they had the team. The same thing you will notice when they had the COVID thing. They had to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy was brought in to take some of the strain off of Juicy, Mr. Byron, because that is his position and she's the deputy. She was brought in for that because at everything he had to be there. He had to actually stay. So he had to dedicate maybe as much time or more than Abdi or Samuel.
Okay.
So they don't just come and sit down in the thing as people think, you know.
I have one more question for you, Miss Henry.
Go ahead.
Don't you think that the nurses who are working in the COVID-19 unit, those persons working in the lab and so on, working on the front lines, deserved something more? Because that too.
Wait, did they get something?
I can't recall.
Well, now, let me go back to the nurses. I think, if you remember, it wasn't last year or the year before. I think it's 21. Remember when they were talking and asking, they're working overtime and whatever.
Yes.
I can be corrected, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard Wendy, Honorable Wendy Fipsey, that the nurses were given an allowance. Think back.
I'll have to go back into that.
No, somebody could call and correct me. I think so, you know.
Okay.
There was a question about they working 12 hours a day and everything, and they were given something. Now, I hear people saying everybody should get. Now, I am saying more people, eh?
Yes.
You see, what I think was lacking on the paper was the number of positions, the number of persons receiving each thing. It should have been like 1, 1, 2. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that you will know. So, I mean, all of them, those who are doing the testing, everybody, unless they were covered in the first set of allowances or honorarium, because they were given honorarium, then they should have gotten something. But to suggest that everybody gets, that means nobody should get. It's easy, you know. When you find that the scope is so wide, you give nobody. You don't think so? No, if the number of people to get is so large, because I heard people saying, well, they're supposed to get, everybody's supposed to get, solid waste supposed to get. When it comes to that, you give nobody, then there's less contention.
Okay.
But the leaks are designed to create confusion and dissatisfaction, and a lot more to come. But I want to know, explain to me, from the leaks and where it's supposed to come from, how could that happen?
I think that's the big question. Everybody's wondering how leaks happen,
And who doing these
we have a
things?
leak. We have a leak in cabinet. We have a leak in the treasury, because those numbers come from treasury. We have a leak. So who leaking? They got a leak all in the governor's house. I mean, take this thing seriously.
People doing these things.
Oh, I am taking it seriously, and I have.
Next morning you wake up, you see your business and the thing.
I have a different opinion. If you are going to leak it out.
Leak good.
Put it out. Do like WikiLeaks and Julian Assange and have a bunch, like a pile of files.
One time. So
and
we know where
just
it come
send them
from.
out so that we know where they come from. Instead, this
Because the truth is, you know, you see with this leak story, innocent people can get hurt, you know. People can say, oh, well, it got to be Kevon. Got to be, you understand what I'm saying? You might be in a department where the leak supposedly came from, right? It don't mean you alone see the document and how we love politics. As long as the person that's in our party, we pinning it on them. You can be politicians themselves leaking. It never occurred to you. They got more reason to leak than anybody else.
Well, to be fair, in history, a lot of leaks have come from politicians.
Yeah, because some things you'll never know. I mean, what they say about each other, we hear. But when it comes to leaking, well, who leaked Hamilton letter? Who leaked, you know what I mean? And some of us, we're so excited over the leak. Next thing you know, you get yourself in trouble. Because there is something called communication in law, you know. If it is slander or libel, and you're so nice to go and put it up on your Facebook, and the matter is taken to court, you are guilty, you know. Are you aware of it?
Well, at this point, that's going to be kind of hard to do because with the speed at which people forward things on WhatsApp,
they incriminating themselves, you know, and they don't even know.
Well,
that's thousands of people, though. They ain't really paying attention to that because that's thousands of people doing these things.
That would be incriminated, and thousands of people, lawmakers would have to go after to then reprimand.
Yeah. Lawyers looking work.
All right, thank you.
Sometimes we do things innocently. Innocently, I tell people, darling, when you hear certain things, watch how you repeat it. Make sure it's let it go. Because sometimes they pick on the smaller one because the one who hire could afford an expensive lawyer. So whenever you get a leak, Don't be the first to leak it. You see it, read it, leave it.
Thank you so much.
And my good friend Greg, the Bible in Leviticus says what you could eat. That's an order. About women, you see in your period you can't come out, you must put them out and put them. So what women doing up around the place? I suppose they're supposed to be home.
Okay, so
Whatever he says is back what he believes. He's a libertarian.
We need to take a break. We need to take a quick break, Miss Henry. So we'll be right back. Thank you so much for the call. All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll come right back.
People make the world go round.
Buying your medication is easy with City Drugstore's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drugstore's curbside pickup service.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
The views and opinions expressed on this program were solely those of the caller and do not reflect the views of WINNFM 98.9. WINNFM reserves the right to disconnect any caller who infringes the law or offends the right of any person. The station will also refuse to take any call from any person who, in WINNFM's considered opinion, is likely to expose the station to liability for statements made on the air.
People make the world go
And we're back with Inside the News here on WINNFM 98.9. I'm your host, Kevon Brown, and I'm joined by the lovely
Yolanda Weeks.
Yes. People are asking why you're hiding, Yolanda. Answer the people.
Because I don't want nobody to see me today. Not today.
Oh, so next week then?
Yes.
All right.
There's somebody on the phone line, Kevon.
Okay, let's get to that call.
2 callers, actually.
We'll ask that.
Next caller.
Good afternoon, caller. You're live on Inside the News.
Good afternoon, everybody in Radioland.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Is this Mr. Cornelius?
No, it is Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown. Mr. Brown. I didn't get that before. And your co-host,
Yolanda?
Madam Weeks.
Yes.
Who has done much to augment your presentation. In your capacity as moderator, we thank you for your coherence, your balance, and your professionalism. But I want you to permit me to remind the nation once again of a truth that I've said it 1,000 times, if I've said it once, that as a people, we are indescribably beautiful and, yes, immensely valuable. We need to be reminded of this, And the failure to acknowledge this will spell our doom. Why? Because nobody, both of you will agree with me, can long perform in a manner that is inconsistent with their self-image. Hence, having a proper estimation of just who we are is today our single greatest need. That's my take on this. Let nobody define you ever, because nobody could be a better version of you than you. You are uniquely you. We don't have this in our consciousness, it seems. And to accomplish this, I suggest that we must have an unshakable and burning desire to rise from the rubble, which consists of wearisome sameness. Now, this will admittedly be a daunting task, since we have for so long been politically hoodwinked and duped, subjugated and misled every 5 years. The same thing over and over and over. It becomes habitual. And we do what we do politically unthinkingly. You have been speaking about the aberrations that have come to the view of the general public. And some say, including Madam Weeks, when confronting a unity apologist, some say that but for the internal disintegration, the vast majority of the populace would still have remained tragically trapped and altogether clueless about the studied inequities that were first designed and then callously implemented by the puppet masters within the hierarchy. The Honorable Premier of Nevis, in all of his scintillating legal brilliance, crafted, if you would remember, the Charlestown Accord, with the full understanding that it could not trump the Constitution, as did Sean Richards and the outgoing Prime Minister as well. Every one of them signed on with the hope of profiting at our expense. It's our money. But a trader is a trader is a trader, and he betrayed them. A mango tree does not bear mangoes to be called a mango tree. It bears mangoes because it's consistent with its nature. What they concocted within was to remain a secret. But with their bonds and allegiance now hopelessly frayed, nullified and degraded, we will continue getting an earful. Why? Because the old adage still holds true: three could keep a secret if two of them are dead. And I submit to you that nothing about this sordid mess is coincidental. I firmly believe that God saw that our beleaguered country has had enough. And coincidence, they say, is the pseudonym that God chooses to use when he wants to remain anonymous. So let us cooperate with divine benevolence by removing them. I'm not talking about one party. All of them, root and branch, so that our blessings our God-given blessings guaranteed by our patrimony can come tumbling in closing. I give you Dr. Drew and his cast of candidates. Nobody calling his name in this mess. I never heard any one of you mention him yet. He is wholly exempt. So I give you Dr. Drew, who stand ready to rectify
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
the wrongs and usher in a new dispensation characterized by equity, peace, and abundance, minus the lies and discord that have left most of us aghast at just how far we have degenerated.
Okay,
and
caller.
I end here by thanking you for hearing me out and by urging the public to take up the mantle and get rid of them, every last one of them who are culpable, so that our beloved nation might live. Good afternoon, folks.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for your contribution.
You're going to ask a question? You have a question to ask.
Let me
a question,
throw it.
A question to posit to our listeners that came our way.
Yes, and that question is, why were the payments kept secret if they were justified? Why were the payments kept secret if they were justified? And in this case, the payments are the honorariums. So we have some callers on the line.
Lines are hot today. Good afternoon.
Okay, both calls are
we
out.
lost the calls. But everybody's opinions of these leaks and
Callers, both calls back again.
are high. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Inside the News.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
Yes. The question is asked: who benefits from the leaks?
Yes.
I think the answer is everyone, the whole public. For as was pointed out, we would have been none the wiser about what is going on in government if these leaks had not occurred. You know, the hanky-panky that is happening behind the scenes, we would have been oblivious to them, okay? And we would have not known that we were lied to for all these years. We need open and transparent government. These are public officials and should be accountable to us. We have a right to know what they are doing. How can we evaluate them if we don't know what is happening? If we don't know exactly what is happening behind the scenes? The voters make decisions based on what they know. I am suggesting that if we knew the shenanigans that was happening in Team Unity for such a long time, if we knew about the corruption and the greed and the dishonesty that they accuse each other of, right? These are people holding high office. If we knew about it, the election results in 2020 may have been very different. Okay? This is a tiny country. This is not the US or the UK, where there are huge national security interests involved. Okay? And so you got to keep certain things secret. Otherwise, the results of the public knowing can be catastrophic. This is not the US or the UK or Russia. All right? Here, apart from people's personal information like their medical history, etc., should be public. Okay? Right? Government operations should be public. And we should not feel sorry for the politicians when these leaks occur. For if you put yourself out there for public service, then you should be available for public scrutiny. We should ask ourselves, why are they so averse to things like integrity in public life, freedom of information, and these things that hold public officials accountable. Anyone who has been employed by somebody else know that they have to go through some kind of appraisal process, some kind of evaluation to explain their actions or inactions as the case may be. The public officials should come under the same scrutiny. So I say leak, and leak some more. Otherwise, the public would be none the wiser. With regards to the political environment, the political temperature that was mentioned earlier, yes, it needs lowering. I think what would help is a debate between the parties and the candidates.
I am in agreement with that. I am in agreement with that.
If the rank and file supporters can see civilized exchange of opinions and ideas, they may be less inclined to the hostility that they now have. Okay, and that is where the leadership comes in. I mean, you know, so many people look to their leaders for guidance.
But let me ask you a question,
Yeah.
because I've always wondered why we've never had debates between political leaders to field questions by moderators, by the people that are listening, watching, viewing, whatever the case is, on issues and how they would combat those issues. You know, similar to what they do in the States or whatever. But from
Well, I can tell you why it hasn't happened.
Yes,
or
go
I
ahead.
would suggest the reason why it hasn't happened. Our politics, people who regard things like debates and so on as boring, mundane things. Okay? They want, you've seen how the supporters react to their parties. They want an in-your-face kind of discourse, you know? You listen to a lot of the talk shows, a lot of people do not discuss ideas and policies. They discuss the personalities. And it isn't that the personality isn't important, because you have to look at the character of who are putting themselves out there to lead us, right? So personality and character are things that are important, but more important are things like policies and ideas and plans for the future. And most people, unfortunately, find that boring. You know, that's having to think, that's having to do the work instead of listening to somebody who gets you emotionally riled up and all excited. It's so much so that it seems as if politics now, for a lot of people, seems to be more about entertainment as opposed to serious business. And I think that is the problem we've gotten ourselves in, right? Where people look at it more for entertainment, and some people look at it for more than they can get, more for what they can get out of the politics than anything else. And that's an unfortunate way to look at politics. No,
Truth be
when you're just
told,
looking at it in a selfish way.
The celebrity of a politician has, I think it's been in existence since before I was born, to be quite honest.
Yes, that is true. But you still have to realize that who we elect, what happens to us, what happens to the country, depends a lot on who we elect. So it should not be just about a popularity contest. You got to look at the character, the competence, the commitment, you know, and that is why this current environment is so strange. Because all of those, and I say all without exception, of those in office right now should not be running again based on what has happened, based on what they say about each other, based on what we have seen. They have disqualified themselves from public office in a place that would have been more democratic and where people are held, public officials are held accountable. Not one of them would have been running for office. Okay, and I guess it goes back to what we are prepared to tolerate, the kind of expectations we have, that we are even prepared to consider them, right, based on what has happened in the past. There should not be anywhere near public office. It speaks to the cynicism of our politics now, where people who have obviously been involved in wrongdoing, okay, are still being held up as candidates for office. It speaks to how the party selects candidates. It speaks to how the electorate select their leaders. Right? So these are people who should not be anywhere near public office.
Well, thank you, caller. Thank you, caller.
Okay.
We're coming up to the end of the program, so but thank you so much for your contribution here on the show this afternoon. A really hot show.
Yeah,
really
hot.
Really divisive.
And I'm very much in agreement with this last caller about debates.
Divisive. Yes, I like that part.
Yes.
It's always been something that I wanted to see come to fruition, where our political leaders from all of the parties can come together and talk about policy implementation, what they think are the top policies that need to be dealt with, and how they address what the people think are the top policies together, cohesively, so that everyone can hear what all of the leaders have to say at the same time, and how they refute each other and how they interact with each other. I've always thought that would be, a good thing.
Yeah. And coming from me, who used to live in Angola and see that, that is a big thing in Angola. Before an election, they have debates and so on. Public get a chance to confront these different people who are vying for office.
Exactly.
And they're able to make a more informed decision, and I would like to see that. That as well as electronic voting.
Oh, that, yes,
Those
absolutely.
two things.
Electronic voting and early voting.
And early voting,
I would
exactly.
like to see that as well.
And the debate. Those are things that I would really want to see. That's how we're going to breed some transparency. All right, so
Well,
we
gotta
go.
wrap up a little bit early today, but thank you so much for the callers. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you can come right on in for another edition of Inside the News next week, Saturday. Look forward to Yolanda and I will be back again. Right after this, we will be having a statement, a political statement from the Deputy Political Leader of the People's Action Movement, the Honorable Lindsey Grant, Mr. Lindsey Grant. He will be making a statement right after, and then just continue staying on for the rest of the programming. Tomorrow, the regular bench meeting and Hina will be on tomorrow on Sunday, and we have a holiday on Monday. So I just want to wish everyone a safe and happy weekend. Stay safe, COVID out there, take care of yourself, drink your tea, you know what I'm saying?
Wear your seatbelt, be safe. Thank you for joining us today.
People make the world go
The views and opinions expressed on this program were solely those of the caller and do not